Oh, hello there, Sergey. CEAZOR! Was wondering, you got any alpha? I need some sweet alpha. CEAZOR, you wanna be a marine? Oh, no, not really. Get your butt down on the ground and get me 50. Okay. Pump, dip, pump, dip, pump, pump. Oh, what do you mean? I'm already pumped. Pumping more, CEAZOR. Get your bloody lazy ass off the ground. Pump, pump, pump. Hello and welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today we're on Ethereum taking a look at Yearn Finance. Now Yearn Finance just announced that they opened a single asset vault for yvLINK. And they explain, you go through this and read this and you'll probably be faster than listening to me. But I'm going to talk a little bit more and give a little bit extra in my video here. So down here I've got a call out. Hey, can someone make a video? And this guy said, CEAZOR, do it. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it today. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to go over to a flowchart and explain to you what they are doing inside the vault. So here's the vault here, yvLINK version 2, and what's going on inside here. As you can see, it's brand new. There's already 5 million in there, but it's new, so there's no APY. You have to wait for some historical data in order for them to predict the APY in the future. So let's take a look at what's happening inside. Okay, so here we are on the flowchart. Here we have Dollar Bill, as usual. Dollar Bill has some yvLINK in his wallet, and he's like, hey, I want to put it to use. Or maybe even he has something else and he wants to go long on yvLINK, so maybe he could use some ETH and Zap in as well if he wanted to. Okay, so he's got some yvLINK in his wallet, let's say, and he wants to put it to use, but he doesn't want to do anything difficult, and he doesn't want any slippage and stuff like that. So he comes along and he finds the yvLINK Marine Vault. Okay, so this is the guy I'm going to be using to represent the vault of the yvLINK, the yvVault, the yvLINK Vault. So he sends his yvLINK into the Yearn Vault here, and the Yearn Vault has several strategies that he's going to use in order to make some yield. So let's go to the first one. The first one's pretty simple. He just takes some of the yvLINK and he sends it to either Cream or Aave, and he lends it. And this APY is not great, but it's very cheap to pull out of this. So they'll put a fair amount of money here just in case Bill or some other person comes and says, hey, I want my money back. They can pull the money from these cheap, but they're still producing yield, so it's not too bad. Okay, so they send it to these and lend and get a small APY on those lending platforms. The second strategy he has is he sends it into Vesper. Now Vesper is a special protocol that does several things with assets. Usually it just sends it straight to Aave and Compound depending on the asset, and gains some yield from that, takes a small piece of it, but also incentivized with Vesper tokens. And there's another strategy on Vesper where they send it to Maker, and then they use Maker to make DAI, and then they put DAI in here, or they put DAI into the Vesper Vault. So there's a few strategies going on here, but the main thing is that they produce some yield on the asset you give them, and they also give you Vesper tokens. So he will collect these Vesper tokens and sell them for more yvLINK, and put some more in here, or put some more in here, and so forth. So these are pretty two straightforward things, but the third one is a little bit special. So he will send the yvLINK to Aave as collateral. So he puts it in here and supplies it as collateral and borrows back some stablecoin. So in this example, I'm going to just use USDC. So he borrows back USDC, and this will have some interest on it, right? So now he has to worry about, he put in, yvLINK, and he's borrowing USDC, but the USDC has some interest. The debt is growing, right? But Aave is now incentivizing the borrowing and the lending with some Aave tokens, but they are time locked. So this yield is not going to come instantly. It's going to take 10 days for this yield to start going. So if you do go into this vault, you got to keep in mind that every 10 days there's going to be a pump in yield based on how much you put in. So keep that in mind that these rewards are vestable in 10 days. So don't go in and out and expect, a big yield within a couple days. Okay, so they borrow some USDC. Now, there's no reason to hold USDC. You can put it to use. So they will just send it to one of the other vaults. So this is the yvUSDC vault, and it has its own strategies and its own ways to make money using USDC. So he sends it there, it makes him yield, and every once in a while pull the yield back, and they could close this down and so forth. But they generally run it until they have to close it down, right? So then these two vaults act as a buffer for this one, because this will be much more expensive on gas to close down. So now there is the possibility that they decide, oh, you know what, this vault here doesn't have as good yield as this vault for some reason, whatever that reason may be. Then they can switch the USDC to another one. And I want to do Tether now, and they pull some Tether out instead. So they return the USDC and borrow Tether and send the Tether to the other vault, the yvUSDT vault. Maybe this has better interest. So they can, play around with this. They can monitor it and see which one's got a better yield and use that. And I'm not sure, but I think maybe they could probably borrow both. They could borrow 50% USDC, 50% Tether, and send them to each one. Now they probably have to clone this strategy. They couldn't, do it within one strategy, but I think it's totally doable to just clone the strategy and give 50% to one strategy and 50% to another strategy and so forth. So now there's one more thing. Traditionally, they used to ask Bill here to make yvLINK. So link CRV LPs, because there is a pool on Curve, and they use Link and synthetic link, and they have Curve rewards, CRV rewards. So I do believe that this Marine here, he is looking at that and probably setting that up. And when the TVL of his money gets big enough and all of this is quite saturated, then he can send some money here and start farming some Curve as well. Okay, so that pretty much covers it. I think I haven't got any more real big ideas about this, but I think it's pretty cool. I really like this borrowing USDC and sending it to other vaults. I think it's good and it's useful, and thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.